Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. You guys are currently looking at updates of Brett Wilkin at 2 days out from this weekend's Romania Pro, and Brett is in great condition right now. It does seem like he lost a little bit of size during this prep, and it may have came from the legs. And I say that because once I look at the back of Brett Wilkin, his back is looking bigger and better than ever. But I wonder if Brett wins this Romania Pro, does he do the Olympia this year? Just being transparent, this is one of the most competitive Olympias we've had in a while, and Brett is going to need a little bit more size to be truly competitive. Or do you guys think it would be smart for Brett to do maybe the big man weekend in 2 weeks to qualify for next year's Olympia and have a full year off? Either way, I'm excited to see Brett this weekend and I have him winning this show. Now, we do have some footage of Behrooz Tabani close up, courtesy of one of our good subscribers on the channel. Behrooz is looking incredible in 1 day out. And I asked him, since you've seen both of these guys up close, do you think Behrooz can beat Brett Wilkin? And he said Brett currently has the death face, he's in great condition, and it seems like Behrooz is skin bursting full. And once I heard that, it made me wonder, did Behrooz sacrifice a little bit of conditioning to come in bigger? As I've said throughout covering Behrooz this prep, I don't see that Heidi Chupin level of conditioning in detail. However, I do think that Behrooz probably has the best structure and shape in the lineup. My only worry is how is he going to stack up against Brett Wilkin size-wise. If Behrooz stacks up size-wise well to Brett, he may be headed to the Olympia. Now, the next update of the day, we have a recent update from Quinton Eriya. And I told Quinton the 2023 New York Pro Trophy already has his name on it. And he responded with he probably will be improved by then, but he really wants to take some true time off so he can come back and dominate. But I did try to get Quinton to hop into next year's New York Pro. But he is currently sitting at 305 pounds, looking pretty good. And as I mentioned before, with Quinton taking so much time off, it may also help him in the muscle maturity department, just getting more reps in the gym. Now switching over to Tonio Burton, the winner of this year's Legion Sports Fest. Tonio probably isn't on anyone's radar going into this year's Olympia, but Tonio was just competing in the 212 at last year's Olympia where he placed 10th. This guy has made a lot of improvements in 1 year, and once he adds about 10 or 15 more pounds of muscle to this physique, watch out for this guy. Now switching over to Samson Dauda, we have recent back updates from him. And Samson has really made some improvements to his back this offseason, but he's still going to need a bit of work to have one of the best backs in the sport. I think Samson could use more density and also more lat width. Now something no one ever talks about is the delts. I think the delts play a huge part in the back double bicep, and as I've said in the past, Samson could use more cap on the delts and also had an injury to his left shoulder. Now when I was looking at this update at 5 weeks out, something else that caught my attention. I got to wondering, does Samson have the issue from behind that Akeem Williams has? At 5 weeks out, I can see some slight glute striations, but Samson just isn't peeled from behind, so I think it could be him having thicker skin. And switching over to Nick Walker versus Hunter Labrada from the 2021 Mr. Olympia. Since last year's Olympia, a lot of people have disagreed with Hunter placing ahead of Nick, and huge shout out to Mark's Max Muscle. He actually did something similar to this a few videos ago. But today I actually want to review these two from the 2021 Mr. Olympia just to see, did Hunter really deserve the win? And also, will Hunter place ahead of Nick Walker again at this year's Olympia? So taking a look at this front double bicep, let's start from top to bottom. If we take a look at the arm department, it seems like Nick Walker has bigger arms. Hunter has good arms as well. They're a little bit smaller but may have more definition. Once we look at the lats, I like Nick Walker a bit more. Midsection for midsection, Nick Walker has more definition, but Hunter Labrada has a smaller waist. And remember guys, the abs don't necessarily have to show in the front double. Once we look at the quads, I like Hunter Labrada a lot more. Nick Walker's left quad, which is to our right, his outer quad sweep to the top has something weird going on. I'm not accusing Nick Walker of anything, but the quads just aren't too pleasing to the eye. Overall, neither one of these guys have a knockout front double bicep. In this shot, to me, Nick takes the upper body, Hunter takes the lower body. Overall, I'm leaning towards Nick Walker, but if Hunter is more conditioned, maybe he would have it. Now, we are going to forego the front lat spread. We can already give that to Hunter Labrada. So 1-1 going into the side poses. So taking a look at this shot, these guys are actually very close. Hunter Labrada has that crazy vascularity in his upper body. And if you're a guy that doesn't have much vascularity, he's going to make you look soft. But once we look at the lower half, I definitely prefer Nick Walker more. Outside of the calves, Hunter is beating him there. And once again, if Hunter is more conditioned, he could probably take this shot, but I'm leaning towards Nick Walker. So going into the back double bicep, Nick Walker is currently up 2-1. We aren't going to spend much time on this shot because this is a Nick Walker shot. Better and lower lat insertions, also has more separation in the hamstring department. But I do think Nick Walker could use a little bit more glute and calf to balance this shot out. Maybe he can borrow that from Hunter Labrada. But Nick Walker is currently winning 3-1 by my standards. Now going into this rear lat spread, this will be a Hunter Labrada pose. Nick Walker does not execute this pose to the best of his ability, even though he does still have the better hamstrings. But I prefer Hunter in the back and the calves in this shot. I like Nick Walker a lot more in the hamstrings. As far as the glutes, Nick Walker's glutes could be bigger, Hunter's glutes could be harder. So 3-2 going into the side tricep. Now taking a look at this shot, Nick Walker definitely looks better. He showcases more detail, but he really isn't executing this pose well. He's honestly making himself look small. Hunter has a better structure, probably has the better arm in this pose. The only glaring weaknesses are the conditioning and the pec tear. Do I decide to still go with Hunter Labrada in this pose? I'm not really sure. I'm going to do it as a toss-up, but I'm leaning towards Nick Walker. Better execution than he has the pose. Switching over to the ab and thigh, definitely can be no question. This is a Nick Walker shot. Bad pose for Hunter. But in all seriousness, taking a look at this ab and thigh, I would definitely have to give this pose to Ian Valliere. Look at his midsection and look at the obliques. But in all seriousness, guys, initially I like Nick Walker in this shot. But once again, I feel like Hunter Labrada is winning in the quad department. So do I go with Hunter, who just needs more ab separation, or do I go with Nick Walker, who needs more quads? And let's finish up this Nick Walker versus Hunter Labrada segment with the most muscular shot. Now, as I said earlier in this video, Hunter has a lot of upper body vascularity, almost making Nick Walker look soft. Now, Nick has some of the best arms in bodybuilding, if not the best, but they overpower his chest a lot. Lower half, I've already told you guys, Hunter Labrada wins by a lot. So overall, believe it or not, I'm going to go with Hunter Labrada in this most muscular shot. So Nick Walker took the front double, the side chest, the back double, and the side tricep. Hunter Labrada takes both lat spreads, the ab and thigh. I can see you guys going with Nick Walker, but I'm going to take Hunter Labrada. And I have Hunter taking the most muscular. So from last year's Olympia, I have these guys split 4-4. I guess we're going to have to judge them off the posing. And switching over to some 212 updates, we have a recent update from Jang Yeop. He will be competing in the Japan Pro this weekend. This guy has some crazy quads and only needs more back size to be truly competitive as a 212 guy. Now, I have heard rumors that Peter Molnar is jumping into that show. And if he is, Jang might be in trouble. Peter has been on a roll in the 212 division. But I'm excited to see this guy on stage. Now, switching over to another 212 guy, we have Bryan Balzano. Now, Bryan definitely has to fix this quarter turn execution by this year's Olympia. It bothers me just a little bit. But I think Bryan will be fighting for a spot within their top 10. 212, once again, so competitive. All these guys are very, very close. But Bryan does bring good conditioning, which really goes a long way in 212. Now, switching over to Classic Physique, we have a small update from Urs Kalecinski, courtesy of Old School Maramba News on Instagram. And my first impression of this update was Urs Kalecinski looks great, also is in good condition, but it seems like he's either flat or down in size, similar to Ramon Dino. And I heard rumors that Urs gained so much weight this offseason, he was wondering would he be able to make the weight, which is why he is so conditioned right now. If anyone can confirm or deny that in the comment section below, let me know. But I'm excited to see Urs on stage. Now switching over to the Black Swan, Breon Ansley. I have been a little bit harsh on Breon, but it isn't me. I think it's just the judges. Personally, I think Breon has one of the most classic physiques in the division. My favorite bodybuilder competing today. But the problem with Breon is the classic physique criteria has been changing almost every year up to Chris Bumstead. Have we ever seen Breon Ansley come in off to a competition? Now switching over to Fabian Mayr, these are recent updates from him ahead of this year's Olympia. Fabian Mayr placed 8th at last year's Olympia, 1 spot behind Mike Summerfield, but I definitely think he's going to improve on that this year. And also, similar to Chris Bumstead, I have no idea how Fabian fits into the weight cap. And overall, I think Fabian can actually have a bright future in the open class. Already in the front double and the front lat, looks to be competitive with some open guys. Now switching over to Tony Yoon, this is a recent update from him. Tony will be competing before this year's Olympia, and I'm pretty sure it's after Romania this weekend, so it will qualify him from next year's Olympia if he wins, which will give him a lot of time to improve. This guy has an incredible physique, really came out of nowhere at this year's Boston Pro. Only really needs to bring the back up to be truly competitive. But with this year's Classic Physique Olympia so deep, I'm hoping that Tony can get somewhere around that top 10 spot. It's going to be very hard to do. And ending this video here with the archive of the day, If you guys know who either one of these guys are, let me know in the comment section below. Even better if you can name both. As always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. Don't rip me apart too much for that Nick Walker Hunter Labrada comparison. I tried to keep favoritism out of it, no bias. I was just honest with what I saw. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're about 5 weeks out from the biggest show in bodybuilding. Gonna be very good Olympia coverage over here on the channel. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.